from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. This is a classic episode of Sleep With Me. Sounds like it's going to be sleepy. It's coming from the vault, 483, so it's from a while ago. Probably a little bit looser and a little bit maybe PG-13, but we also remix these and kind of remove, anything that. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks and good night. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. Hey, everybody, it's Drew Scooter here. It's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, the sponsor I'm sleeping in every single night, ideally, except when I'm out of town, and then I'm missing it. And that's my Helix mattress. You can take the mattress quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep. See what mattress you get matched with. I sleep in the Helix at Dusk Luxe. And when I took the quiz, that's a mattress I got matched with because I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach. I don't like to be hot and stuffy at night, so I love the cooling features. And I know from my experience with traveling that no other mattress fits my sleep needs. There's no other place I'd rather be than in my bed in the sweet, sweet arms of my Helix Dusk Luxe. Because even when I've stayed in really, really nice hotels, I haven't felt like the mattress met my needs and how I sleep. That's what I love about Helix. I mean, you take the quiz, it matches how your sleep and feel preferences. You could take it with your partner. Then the mattress comes straight to your door, shipped free of charge. You just bring it inside and you set it up. So I love my Helix. It's a part of my long-term plans, man. It's like a long-term relationship because sleep's important to me and being comfortable in bed's important to me. So you should check out that Helix quiz. Everybody, this is an exclusive offer for Sleep With Me listeners. It's better than what you find on the public website, so pay attention. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free Dream Pillows with mattress purchase, plus a free bedding bundle, 2 Dream Pillows, a sheet set, and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free Dream Pillows with mattress purchase, plus a free bedding bundle, 2 Dream Pillows, a sheet set, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is where I tell you, hey, if you want to support the show, if you rely on the show, you're hearing me and you believe in supporting the show, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, and it'll take you 3 clicks to sign up and support the show. But I'm going to read through why Carrie supports the show, and maybe you'll relate to that, and you say, oh, yeah. So Carrie says, I'm a Jane of all trades with dealing with a lot of stuff. I'm paraphrasing. Of course, listening to Scooter calms me down when it's time to sleep and gives my brain and body a time to rest, which is incredibly important to me. I figured something that brought me comfort in the deep, dark night deserved to be supported. It was hard for me to pick up my credit card and take the steps to support the show because I was cozy and getting ready for bed. But I made it a priority because I would have regretted it if this show couldn't go on and I hadn't done my part. Scooter and the crew at Sleep With Me put their hearts into their work. And just like your local barista or taxi driver, they deserve a tip. Your regular contribution can make a big difference for the longevity of the show and for countless people who rely on the podcast but can't afford to support it financially. If you have room in your budget for this sweet little treat for yourself, think about how nice it would be to support the show and enjoy it ad-free. It feels great to support the show because I know I've done my part to keep it going. I would be sad and regretful if I found out Scooter and the crew could not keep the show going because they didn't have enough support. People like Carrie help keep the show going. If you relate to what Carrie says, you can go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and sign up. Or if you don't believe in doing that for Sleep With Me, think about doing it for something else that positively impacts your life that's made by a small business or an independent creator, someone that puts a lot of work into something that you really enjoy and you want it to be there a year from now or 2 years from now. So thanks, Carrie. Oh, Mr. Bart, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Posterson sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bar. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Hannah like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bart. Hey, this is Scoots with breaking news. If you get sleep phones, send me a message through the contact form on our website with your receipt, or let me know what Sleep With Me model you got, and I'll give you a free trial of Sleep With Me Plus. And if you get, like, depending on which version you get, it'll be 3, 6, or 12 months, depending on which model of sleep phones you got, but only if you use our link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. You'll save $5 on sleep phones, and you'll get a trial of Sleep With Me Plus, an extended trial of Sleep With Me Plus. So if you sign up, you buy sleep phones, the best way to listen to Sleep With Me over the holiday season. Make sure to send me a message through the contact form on our website. Thanks. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And we do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's been keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, travel, physical sensations, lists, podcasters, a listing, lips. It could be chapped lips, unkissed lips, or, underkissed. What did I say that already? Do I have underkissed? Overkissed? It could be overkissed lips. It could be, it could be like, it could be something not, though. It could be anything else. Now that it could be lipstick. Like if you get that lipstick out of your pocket, you might be able to sleep better. But whatever it is, whatever's keeping you awake, I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night, and I'm going to try to distract you from whatever it is. I'm going to use creaky, dulcet tones. I'm going to alternate between talking slow and pausing, and I'll go in and out of sense and sensibility. I'll fall on. You'll say, can you sense the sensibility? Oh, no, wait, I won't have sensibility. What's the other thing? Holy Jane Austen. I don't know. There won't be. I'll wander out of sense and sensibility. Senseless. Is it unsensible or insensible? I think incomprehensible is like this podcast. But it'll make sense, too. There'll be an underlying current, just like a meandering river. I guess I never put that two together. Or the flow, like there's an underlying current, even though the river slowly meanders. The reason it does, like the reason it's still meandering, it wouldn't meander, it'd be tepid if it wasn't. And this podcast is not tepid. I don't think tepid things, there'll be tepid moments, but there's a slow underlying current here. And what drives the current is a deep desire to help you fall asleep, because I've been there. I'm someone that had a terrible time sleeping as a kid. And now as an adult, I have, I overthink and I overworry. Or, I get caught up on my phone. Or sometimes it's incomprehensible. I just wake up and I say, why am I waking up? It's 2:30 in the morning. And now why can't it, why does everything in my bed feel, I'm in the same bed, same temperature, like why does everything feel off? And what am I, should I just stay? Should I not move? Should I move? Should I get out of bed? That whole rigmarole, I've been through it a lot. And so if I can help you fall asleep by distracting you with my silly stuff, it'll be my honor. And that's the reason I do this show, because I've been there and I know how awful it can be. And I guess beyond that, if you're new here and then you start using the podcast on a regular basis, or some people use it on a situational basis or infrequent basis. But if you're new here and you transition into being a regular user, my most ambitious goal is to make you look forward to bedtime, or to take it back down a notch, to dread it a little bit less. And shooting for the stars, my striving is to distract you and help you fall asleep, but make you feel like just a touch of delight. And that's a strive, that's something like, it's just a little bit out of reach. I'm stretching. But sometimes I feel like if I can get close, maybe it'll give you some distance from whatever's keeping you awake, and you can kind of listen to the story. But at the same time, the story's going to be meandering, just like that river. It'll have that underlying current, but on the surface, it'll almost seem like it's not moving at all. And you'll wonder, how is that river moving or what? But you're under no pressure when you listen to this podcast to pay attention, to remember anything. I mean, obviously the business stuff up top would be great if you do, but from this point on, you don't have to listen. You don't have to pay attention. You're not going to let me down. But you're also under no pressure to fall asleep. That's why the shows are about an hour long. I'll be meandering, and I'll be here to keep you company and to strive to do whatever it takes to kind of help you drift off into dreamland. And the whole idea of the show is that it gives you a story to kind of pay attention to, but you don't have to pay, you don't have to pay strict attention. And there's really no wrong way to use the podcast. Like, some people put it on as they're getting ready for bed. Some people put it on when they get in bed. Some people put it on when they wake up in the middle of the night. Some people let it play all night long. Some people listen when they're stressed out during the day. Some people listen to when they're stressed, whatever it is. I guess that's the whole role, is I'm your boyfriend. Just like, trying to think of what other, I guess, just like all those other, there's no famous people that are like that person in your life, or that's come into your life and then now been digitally replaced. Sorry, real person. I mean, all of us have had maybe a neighbor or a friend or a partner or a cousin or somebody that kind of tells like long-winded stories. And sometimes those people could be a little bit bombacious, bombacious, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. Bombacious, right? That person is so bombacious. I mean, I guess that would be how you say it, because you say bombacious. That means something totally different. That's, holy moly, that's bombacious. But this is bombacious. But, you might have that friend that just comes in and, you'd have those long conversations about, kind of about nothing, or they could tell stories and they were somewhat amusing, but you could never put your finger on, like where you just were at ease, but you also felt like there's no pressure to contribute to the conversation, or no pressure on you to be dynamic or friendly. You're just supposed to kick back and chill. And that's kind of this podcast. I mean, I'll ramble. And if you're skeptical, that totally makes sense. This podcast doesn't work for everybody. I mean, I hope it works for you. But if you give it a few tries, see what happens. That's the whole idea. But it might, it doesn't, I guess, yeah, like I said, it doesn't work for everybody. But, if it was a physical service, that would happen is at some point, I guess it would be better if I was magical and, I'd like material, the dust would float and then I'd say, well, hello, I'm here to tell you your bedtime story. I'm Scoots. I guess I'd have more, like this spot, I guess I'm more creaky dulcets. That's where I'd have my bedtime story dulcets. And I'm here to tell you the tale of, I guess that's, I've done that voice before. I don't know if I could do it for 400 episodes, though. It takes a lot of extra oxygen. But, you know, if I was doing a physical service, I'd pay. I mean, I would charge an unbelievable. I have set the price at $100,000 a visit. You know, though thus far, all the offers I've gotten have been jokes, or because it's $1,000 a visit. I did upgrade it to expense. You know, that's one visit. You know, obviously you should fall asleep with. You know, like you get an hour. And no funny business, you know, period, end of story. Except for me, you know, I'll be goofy. And some people say I'm pricing myself out of the market. And I said, well, there's no, I mean, so you got to get, I mean, have you seen what it is? So this works better because the podcast is free and I just come over there. But it's the same thing. I come over and say, hey, what's the kick? Get him, you know, turn out the lights, get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. I'm your boyfriend. And I can even ramble about like what I would ramble about if I was a paid service. You know, come on over. You say, well, for the 100,000, does it come with a foot rub? No, it doesn't. If you're asking that, the answer is no. I mean, I would hire someone, and maybe like, but that would be a different charge. You know, I'd have to bring in a foot rubber, and then I'd probably have to get some sort of licensing and bonding going. So probably not, maybe just a straight no. I mean, if it's between $100,000 and zero, that would be an add-on, I guess, just like you say, okay, but are you ready to check out? Would you like the licensed and bonded foot rub add-on performed, you know, by Lurleen, you know, the foot rubber, because I'm not rubbing, you know, I don't think I could focus on telling a story. And rubbing feet is why. Not because your feet aren't so, they're just the loveliest feet I've ever, you know, imagined in my brain. So that's your choices, like 100,000 or free. I said, okay, free. I prefer free. So that's it. Like, you just kick back, listen to this podcast. I'll be here. I'm your boyfriend. And I'll be here striving the whole time. Giving it my all, but the beauty is I'll be giving my all so you don't have to. You don't have to listen. You don't have to pay attention. I'm here, and it's really my honor to help. I'm here for everyone beyond the binary that this works for, every single person, because I've suffered in the deep, dark night, and if I can offer any relief, I mean, it's beyond, I don't know what else to say. Other than I'm glad you're here. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep, all right? Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. I want to make this short and sweet. If Sleep With Me helped you find rest or ease in the deep, dark night, I don't know if you knew this, but the main way we keep making this show and the main way you could support the show when you say, I love this podcast, I want it to be here for me whenever I need it, how can I support it? Scoots, how can I help you? Because you help me so much. If you're asking that question, the best way to help the podcast is by going to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and joining Sleep With Me Plus, because it's a two-way street at Sleep With Me Plus. You're going to get the best listening experience you possibly can. There's ad-free full episodes, story-only episodes. If you listen all night, Sleep With Me Plus is much better for that. If you like to pick episodes out of our entire catalog, so if you're saying to yourself, man, this podcast helps me out so much, how can I help it back? I want to feel good about it. I already feel good about it. You could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thank you. All right, hey, everybody, welcome. I guess this is kind of like a trending Twitter Tuesday episode, except it's Sunday when I'm recording this, and it's a harried haircut, trending Tuesday episode, maybe, because I just got my haircut. And it had been procrastinating for, I think, 2 months. I can't remember exactly. Like, for a while, I told myself this. It never happened. I said, okay, I'm going to get my hair cut on the 15th of every month. Because it's about how often I need to get a haircut or fur cut, fur trim. And I try to shave on the 15th every month. and they wouldn't have to worry about it again for a month. Usually if I shave, then it doesn't get where I look like, where people will say, if I make it every 30 days, if I get my hair cut and shave, I look like a productive member. I can pull off pretending I'm a productive member of society. I guess in some sense I am, because I put all of you to sleep. So, but I guess my external image betrays that fact. Or I guess you say, well, you look exactly like the kind of person that would rant. And I say, well, it's a shame I have to get my hair cut on the 15th. I did shave last week at before my parent-teacher conference for my daughter, because they said, well, come on, man. I had to look. I said, what do you do? It wasn't just, I don't mind shaving, but I just never, I barely have any downtime. And I don't, I was just like, I couldn't find the time. And then I was like worried because my hair hadn't been cut in so long that it would kind of throw me off balance. That I would have I don't even go bare face. I just go down to stubble. But that would throw off, because in my, because I don't know how deep to go with this describing of my fur and my hair. I guess about my, what do you call those things? What are those? Not brows. What are those things called? That go along your ears. Sideburns. They can get pretty unruly, because the hair is just denser than the fur on my head. Like that actually might be human hair. The stuff in my sideburns, because it has a curl to it. It's a little bit thicker. That might be human hair, but the rest of my head is fur. And I can't remember if I was supposed to get my hair cut on October 15th or November 15th. I thought before I went on Harmontown, I said, let me get a haircut and shave like a week before that, which would have been October 15th. But I can remember saying, well, and I think I shaved, but I don't know if I got a haircut, but maybe I did. But November 15th came and went, and then... So what is it? I don't know what the date is now, the 10th or the 11th. It's the 11th, Sunday the 11th, December 11th, probably January 11th is when you'll be listening to this ish. How's in 2017? I'd like to get there as soon as I can, even though, say this, no offense, 2016, oh boy. But I did in 2016, by the way, in the future, I'll need a haircut. So remind me around January. I got too much to remember on January 15th, so remind me on another day. But yeah, November 15th came and went, and I think, is that like a Simon and Garfunkel song or somebody else? And November 15th came and went. My hair was not cut, my beard was not shorn. But then last week I did, or maybe that's 2 weeks ago, maybe I didn't shave for my teacher's conference. I shaved a week after it. Apologize to my daughter now. Anyway, so the good news is, meandering aside, I got my haircut today. Now, I guess we could go into this. I was going to do a story, but might as well keep going since my hair is always such a wonderful topic of conversation. There's a couple. The guy that I like to cut my hair, he wasn't there, but the woman that runs the place was there and free. I couldn't see in the window. I was looking for this young guy. He really does a good job. He got braces, by the way, because he was in the back. And I was going to actually try to work up the courage, to ask him for his number and say, could I get your number and your name so I could text you to make sure you're here. But the next best person there, the woman that runs the shop. And you might say, what's the name of the shop, Scoots? I only know it as a $14 barber that once was $11, then was $12, and now is $14 because our street's got some sort of haircut inflation going. And, I live on, not my street, but the street I get my haircut on, it has a lot of nail shops and haircut places, lots. I don't know if that's a zoning thing or because of there's a sweet spot in the rents, and I think the rents are going up, so the haircut shops are raising their prices, and maybe there'll be like a culling of the haircutters. But I got my haircut here for a while. I guess not enough to keep not enough to keep the prices down. Maybe if I had increased my frequency, But I really like this woman whose shop it is, whose name I don't know. She's the woman that runs the $14 haircut shop. And then this real young guy who I'm guessing maybe is 22 or something, maybe even younger. So they do both good job. They get a buzz cut. Now, I live in an area that still has like a large Coast Guard population. So I also have to make sure that they don't, like, I think a default for here, when you go to a barbershop, is to give you like a little military look, like really short, like a buzz on the top, but then really short sides. And I said, I don't need, like, I have fur. I don't need, you don't have to go do like I'm already going to look, I don't need a military cut. So I always have to make sure you're not going to cut it like I'm in the military, please. And not that that's a bad thing. It just doesn't look good on me. I think just something about my scalp. I prefer like a Sonic the Hedgehog look with my buzz cut, as opposed to something more faded or, I don't know, trimmed or whatever you do. I think that's a fade. And usually, like this time I overestimate. I said, okay, like a 4. That's the length of the buzz thing. And then she said, well, what do you want on the sides and the back? A 2. I said, no, 3. Please do a 3. Please. I don't want to look like some sort of undercover agent. Then the whole barbershop burst into laughter. I said, like an undercover agent on a mission, I meant. And then they laughed again. So that was, that was my little gift to the barbershop, the gift of accidental laughter, just like on this show. But I said, really, don't make me look like I'm in the military because because actually kids at work make fun. If I look, I'd rather be made fun of as a hedge. For some reason, I'd rather they call me. Usually that's how I know when to get a haircut is if kids at work at one of the libraries I work at. Or if I need to shave, it's when they make fun of me, which I think is like, usually they don't, they'll make fun of me behind my back. But then at some point, like one time they were calling me a baboon. I think I said, well, I must need to shave. Or is that why you're calling me a baboon? And they laughed. And I said, okay, it's a touche. I consider it done. And then go back to laughing behind my back at whatever it is, that so hilarious. But it's actually like I think they're trying to help me. Like sometimes when people, it's not the hurtful making fun of, when they call me a baboon, it's with a friendly. I know I sound delusional, but this time I'm not. Because, I could just say, well, you get, I need to get, you got time out now, so you got to go outside. Okay, so big news is I got my haircut. The bigger news of my haircut is that, well, I guess maybe I should, okay, so let's bookmark that. I got my haircut today and I discovered some things. Also, with the podcast, I'm always experimenting. And one of my dreams, if we could ever get the budget together, like maybe a couple of years from now, if we can get to like 4,000 Patreon supporters or maybe some other form of paying for this budget comes in, I would like to do a season of like 10 episodes of the podcast in French or Spanish or Portuguese or whatever, figure out which language would be the most likely that the podcast could break even and sound cool in. And like, this isn't a current project, so because my time is maxed, but like, that's something on the like long-term horizon of what I want to do with the podcast is expand it to other languages. I'm just not sure, that I can afford to do that and that it would be fruitful, but we'll see. But as a part of that, so that's one initiative. Another one is like transcripts. Like I pay for machine transcripts for the show, and haven't figured out a good way to share those. But those are every show. The machine transcripts are automatically generated. And I use a nonprofit based in Oakland that's associated with PRX. And they do a lot of work with podcast audio search. I don't know what the division that does the machine transcripts are, but it doesn't matter that much. But then I did this other company that does another part of my post-production called Allphonic. It's tough to explain the part of the post-production they do, but part of it is like pushing backups of the episodes out and to different servers and normalizing the loudness. But they had this new feature where they were like, okay, they were testing out machine transcripts through a couple different services, one of which was free. Like the other service, the main service I use is not free. It's not as expensive as human transcripts, like a person listening and transcripting the show. With Sleep With Me would be cost prohibitive because I think it's about $1 a minute for a human transcript, like in English. And it might even be more. So it's cost prohibitive at that moment because that would be it'd be $1,000 a month. Yeah, we can't afford that. Like the machine transcript service is exactly 25%. That's I think we pay $260 a month for that. But this Allphonic that I use, their services, they said, well, you could try this one machine transcript service for free, or Google has a machine transcript service. And so I started looking into this and I said, well, could we do the machine transcripts if it's free, could we do it in French and Spanish just as an experiment to see what would come out of a machine transcript? Because a machine can barely transcribe this podcast to begin with. I mean, I've gotten, like Nikola Tesla showed up one night. I think it was real. I don't think this was a dream. And he was with Ray Transistor and Sheila Solid State. And they were riding electrical light bugs. And they said, what are you doing to these machines? You know, it was like a Christmas Carol where they took me. I guess I'll explain that part after. So we'll get back to that. So I've been thinking about, so I've run a couple episodes and I haven't figured out a way to share those. And I'm not even sure I understand the files. It's sending out an HTML file and then two other files whose names, like a VTT file and a JSON or something. I said, what is that? Like, if I double click on it, nothing happens. With the HTML file, if I double click on it, if I'm logged into my account, I think it opens up in French. Okay, so those are the things these are the things going on for me this weekend is my haircut. So I get my haircut and I was visited by Nikola Tesla, not Nicholas. Again, don't do. And a couple other, what was it? Maybe it was Sabrina Solid State and Terry Transistor. I don't know. I do know they were riding lightning bugs, but the thing was, I think because of this whole transcript thing, they were like, it was this is where you'd say, Scoots, no, it's a dream. And I would say, yeah, up until the minute my hair was getting cut, I wouldn't have believed that, but you could have said that to me and I wouldn't have rolled my eyes. Because, yeah, every time they said anything, like, I couldn't understand barely anything they were saying. And I said, like, are you speaking French? Nick, I did was called Nicky Testa. And you might ask yourself, how would you know it's Nikola Tesla? And I'd say, well, one, Tesla coil on the back of a lightning bug. He took to zap me when I called him Nicky and Nicholas and Old Saint Nick, Nickster, Nick Lachey, Testy Nick, all those things that get you Tesla coiled, just to be forewarned. Also asking, can I plug my car into that? All those kind of things. Tesla's heard it all. But anyway, other than the language of zapping of Tesla coils, I couldn't understand what Nicholas Tesla and Terry and Sabrina were saying, except I said that, they didn't seem pleased with me. Even in between the zapping, once I said, okay. Anyway, I don't want to give I still didn't know what they were talking about, which would lead most people to say, well, it was a dream. They were speaking in the language of dreams. And I would say, oh, like a metaphor, like instead of zapping me with the Tesla coil, most people just glare. That's their Tesla zap for the normal. I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. I understand. Here's where the spark, here's where the spark with the light bulb went on. It was at the barbershop today. And we did talk about the human ear a while back when I was trying to give a guided tour of the human ear and all the amazing, evolutionary refinements and how it catches sound and what's the thing called? The external ear. And normally, like, I think I was trying to practice today, being in the moment was another thing. So I said, okay, let's just sit here and get our hair cut and be in the moment. I think Philadelphia was playing Washington on TV. So I was kind of watching that. That's in the moment, though, kind of. And then I was just like trying to, it's a fast haircut normally for me, unless something goes really wrong. So I was just trying to kick back and enjoy the haircut. And then I noticed she had switched to like one of the I don't even know what those things are called. I just call them a buzzer, a shave. No, it's a trimmer. I think a trimmer. I think they're called trimmers to like do the area around my ear. And as she got close to my ear, I started hearing things. I heard some things. And then she bent my ear. And as she bent my ear, I said, clearly heard the voices coming from the hair trimmer. But they were way easier to hear when my ear was bent. So, like she was folding my ear so she could get behind it in a very gentle way. And so after my haircut, and I guess this says a lot about how that I will prefer to pay $11 for a haircut. And then I preferred to pay 12. Then I didn't mind paying 13 for, at 14. But I still, I think that's a good price because then you can still give another $1. Even though she owns the hair place, they said, well, here's an extra $1. And I had a 20. So then I had a $5 bill. And I said to the woman, I think that's a magical trimmer you had, and then that took forever. So then I was trying to find and then, it became a whole thing. And I said, okay, I want to buy this specific hair trimmer from you. And then she was saying she got to, what is she going to do? But then, the younger guy, he got it. He knew I was on a mission. I was like, that I was calling to, the adventure was calling to me, the adventure of a magical hair trimmer. And then they were saying, is he sure it's, and I said, well, I'm not sure it's magic. It could be imbued with my own, it could just be a projection. But I think that's just what a talisman is. Like I'm imbuing it with something. I said, Nikola Tesla's communicating to me. And also, I don't know if you've read the history books, but Sabrina Solid State, the world famous Sabrina Solid, she's one of the ones that rides a lightning bug. Like they said, okay, anyway, it's just, I'm a comedian. And I said, I'm a comedian and I'm doing a comedy routine. And I said, this is actually not lying. It's just like a fictionalization of the truth. It said, I said, I do stand-up comedy, and I want to do a bit where I pretend that and then they got that. And then they said, that's not funny. Then they said, tell us jokes. And I said, what? That was the whole thing I just did. That's my routine. I do comedy for a K through two grade, just kids. And luckily there was a kid in the shop who was, basically like he was in hysterics. And I said, see, like I'm a pro. And then the kid wanted to buy, and we negotiated a price for, and I said, what kind of, it's a priceless object, a magical hair trimmer, but it wasn't like it was priceless to anyone but me. Especially if you take the judgmental stance that I'm the one talismaning it, with my own, visions of Tesla. But so I have the trimmer here, and I guess that what I'll have to do is pause the podcast and and listen and then see what's coming through. And then we can kind of talk about it. And then maybe I can relate it back to the dream. So this is very experimental stuff, even for this podcast. And, maybe some of you are already drifting. You say like, wow, Scooch really loves your hair. You know what, Scooch, your voice sounds a bit like a hair trimmer. Maybe you could just get rid of the podcast and just play it. And I say, that's a great idea. And when you have a podcast, you can just play a hair trimmer, but I can't do that because I need the attention. But you might say, what happened on Sleep With Me last night? Say Scoots was interpreting a hair trimmer, I believe. So I'm going to pause it here so you don't hear the buzzing of the hair trimmer. And then I'll be back. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I could. A lot of it is still in French. It's definitely Tesla. Something Naruto, though, I heard. Naruto Senin. And then any connect baguette. How do you say his name? NNM. And the rapper. And then more French than Skype. Wee fairy. I know wee means yes, fairy with capital F. Then something, guess your PC download. Thank you, YouTube. And then I said, voulez-vous coucher? Then iTunes to beeper. And I said, what? Okay. And I said, okay, keep going. PEI ancestres. Okay. So basically, Naruto Senin, any connect, I don't know what that means. NNM, guess your PC download, thank you, YouTube, iTunes to beeper, and something. So let me try to think, what's that dream? What was it? So at some point, like after the Tesla was done with me, I was done trying to crack everybody up, and then I said, what are the three of you doing here in my bedroom? And then they just kept talking. And I guess what we can now say is probably French. So I guess the next logical step is that this hair trimmer is a bit like the babblefish, but it's just, it's only a hair trimmer. So it can only get some of the words. But I mean, I guess it makes sense because the hair trimmer vibrates and words are vibrations. And so maybe they're still vibrating and they're vibrating in my ear. So it has to be, so this makes total sense. And actually a lot more of it makes sense too, if you know me, because one of my jobs is buying books, for library work at. In Naruto, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. That's one of the most this might be a shocker to people that don't read it, but it is very, very popular. And I don't know what the release schedule is, if it's every 3 months or every 4 months exactly. But I don't know. And I don't know if of course, these are the things I should know off the top. Is it volume 73 or what? No, because isn't Naruto, or is that Dragon? I think Naruto's bounced back to these other ones. So that would make sense. That's something that I've been thinking about. Oh, also because of your hearing this, but when I also tried to buy, okay, that makes sense, because I tried to buy my nephew a game. I think that was a Naruto game, right? Shippuden or something. So I think, let me see if this makes sense. So where we first went on the lightning bugs, I got on the back of Sabrina South State's lightning bug. Mr. Tesla's was occupied by a coil. And so we shot off and we were circling what looked like a shopping mall. And they were all talking to me in French. At some point I just kind of pretended like it was snow falling, but it was their words in French or Belgian. I don't know what language, I'm just guessing it's French. And like we were circling a mall, and then the keys fell out of my pocket. Again, another way I know that it wasn't a dream. And I said, thank goodness it wasn't my... And then I said, boy, I need those keys. nice pointing. And then luckily we had to Terry Transistor. Another question you might be asking, like Nikola Tesla, human. Terry Transistor, yes. Human transistor humanoid. Sally, what was her name? Sabrina Solid State. Figure it out. They think she was once a character on that show, American Gladiators. So I said, luckily Terry Transistor, very good at pointing because the Transistor's got those wiry limbs. So we flew down and my keys had, of course, gone through a skylight, and we shot through the skylight, and the mall's closed. This was nighttime. And I said, okay, keep an eye out for Paul Blart. And of course, Terry Transistor took that literally. So then there was like a Paul Blart mall display. So Paul Blart. And where they were selling, I think it was Paul Blart 3 or 2, I don't know, but not important. And then the next thing so then I started digging through. Did I say this already or no? Like I dug through the atrium and found my keys really fast. So I said, okay, keys are, and then I saw GameStop. Now this is where my sister said to buy, this one would be like, I guess, a birthday gift. But I said, well, I know I was supposed to go to GameStop. And then I said, are you familiar with the Xbox? I said, hey, this is a 360 game I got to find. So, and I said, can you give someone a pre-used game as a gift? Is that permissible? And I said, are you familiar with consoles? Because they have everything, electricity, solids, they got transistors. I said, wait a second. I said, Terry, is Sabrina Solid State your mother? Or are you... And then Terry just shrugged. And then the door to the GameStop was open. So I said, well, I got to go in there and look for the Shippuden Naruto thing. And, figure out what I said, this is Mystic, I'll drop my keys and they seem to have other agenda of where we were supposed to go. And they said to Terry, keep an eye out for, Paul Blart. But I pointed at the chest, some mall security. And he said, just stand here. You look like a display anyway. We'll be fine. It's the thing about being a transistor. It looks like, you look like a modern art, Terry. He said, maybe I could counsel transistors, transistor therapy, transistor therapist, transistor, yeah, maybe I could do that one day. I patted Terry on what I thought was Terry's back. Could have been his front, though. And we went into the GameStop, and I tried to look for Shippuden, but quickly I was distracted, and so was Tesla. And then, because I said, well, maybe we should play some Connect dancing games. And we started doing that. And I was, a lot of times I was pointing at the three of them saying, you're the ones that make this haps, this wouldn't happen without, with electrical stuff. And then I got crazy because then we started going like 90s. That's where Eminem came in. And I was looking for because you can download stuff. So then we ended up, don't worry, we charged, I paid for everything, but we downloaded some Eminem songs. And then I said, hey, Nikki. And then Nikki then the lightning bug flew and zaps him, the coil zaps me. And I said, oh boy, let me stand closer to this gaming console. And then I put my elbow, so I was making elbowing Tesla jokes or insults so that the Tesla coil would have at my elbow, which I'd move out of the way, and then it would shoot into the console. And that was right when I was firing up this game for Sally, Sabrina, the solid state person, and Tesla to have a little dance off. And they were into it. I mean, I don't know if you what chocolate chips would think at a bake-off. But, these two were happy. And, you see, these are good questions to ask of, like, how good are these interfaces at introducing these? And they picked it right up, and they must have suspended their disbelief. But meanwhile, this console's getting shot full of, magical Tesla juice. And then at some point, poof, like right out of like just like if you download it on PC or iTunes, realer than a YouTube video, and Eminem pops out, Eminem, and was rapping live there. And I wasn't dancing. I was dancing, but not as part of the game, just part of, whatever the posters say, live your life like you're dancing and nobody's watching. I was living my life like I was with, like the lightning bugs, Nikola Tesla's lightning bugs were watching me dance because they were. And then I was doing like, what do you call it? A butt bump, right? When you bump the side of your butt into another person when you're dancing. Is that called a butt bump? Because I was doing that with the lightning bugs. And I was trying not to do it too hard because I don't know how delicate giant lightning bugs are. And they were having fun. I said, and then they crossed the line. I said, do any of you know glowworm? And at first they didn't get it. They said the goodnight friend. Glowworm was my sister's goodnight friend, or maybe my little brother's. They didn't get that. And then Eminem, after a while, because I don't know if Eminem was like actually transported in a Star Trek fashion from like his living room. But Eminem appeared there. And then, after finishing a couple songs, whatever the magic of, I think it was magical watching me. I guess even how many times can you watch a grown man bump butts with giant lightning bugs and get zapped by a Tesla coil and watch? But then Terry, the transistor, ran in and said, c'est blocked. Oui. Oh, no, that's what I said. And then I said, that's when the fairy thing came in. Because the next store over was like a big brand, a children's brand store. And the first thing I saw, because I couldn't, can you imagine the controversy if they arrested Nikola Tesla, Eminem, and 2 humanoid non-humans, sentient, and 3 giant lightning bugs? We got enough news right now, to handle. So I knew I was going to have to not be the fall guy, but, so I ran into this store where princess things are sold, and I threw on a giant gown for adults, and then I grabbed a giant magic wand, and I flitted? Yeah, I flitted out and slid in the mall so that I slid in front of a GameStop. And, Eminem was good at keeping everybody down. I said, behind the boxes, if you see ship it in or whatever, grab it for Xbox 360. But so then the mall the person came. Now, luckily, good thing about traveling with Tesla coils is they block a lot of electromagnetic stuff. So none of the radio worked. Dude's cell phone was glitching. And they said, what are you doing? And then I'm good. These are the situations. You put me in a situation in a fairy godmother's gown, in a shopping mall in the middle of the night, with a 2 celebrities from different eras. Never asked Tesla if he saw The Prestige, but I'll have to, at some point. I wonder if I should just watch it with, I never asked Tesla about, or Eminem about magicians, what they think of magicians. But oh boy, was this, and I said, oh, are you Randy? Because that was the security guard's name tag. He said, what are you doing? I said, and I said, oh boy, am I glad to see you. I'm I'm your fairy friend here, and I'm here to grant you something. And he said, you got to get out, you can't be in here. What are you doing? And he said, our fairy kingdom can only be saved with your powers, Randy, your powers of the knowledge of Naruto. Naruto's what brought me here for Xbox 360. I missed out on buying the correct Christmas gift. And Randy said, oh, I know, I could show you exactly where it is in the GameStop. And then, then I can just use the landline there to call the authorities. And we started walking over. I said, no, actually, we can't go in the GameStop. I was just being facetious, Randy. I'm your fairy godparent. I'm here to pull you. I'm here to add, actually, Randy, I'm with the Security Enterprises, Inc., I said, what we do, I said, surprise, this is a surprise. We do, it's like a security atrophy, anti-security atrophy program, Randy. I said, actually, I should probably get out of this fairy godmother, because the only person with magic here is you. Magic of catching me in the act of doing something. It wasn't as exciting. Like, isn't it usually the life of them all? I mean, not everybody can have that exciting life of Paul Blart and, live that kind of dream. But, I mean, that's a dream I yet to even have become aware of other than the name Paul Blart, and that there's segues, which I see you don't have, Randy. So no wonder you're the great conglomerate that runs this facility would hire me to have you get an award. And he said, well, you see this? I said, well, of course they wouldn't have me give you an award. And I, of course, raised and projected my voice. I said they would have a celebrity give you the award, a celebrity impersonator, of course, Randy, but of course they would hire someone. And it's just from a special effects company. So obviously riding in, and then just on cue came Eminem riding on Tesla's lightning bug. And he said, congratulations, Randy. You've won one night of excitement as a security guard. Are you the only one on duty? And Randy said, yeah, the door's locked. And then we proceeded to give Randy the night of his life. If your dream as a security guard is to do lightning, which it was my dream, and I didn't even know it, to have lightning bug races up and down the mall, and to swim in, I guess Randy had a dream of swimming in fountains and throwing the money up like he was a goonie, and dancing with like a solid state, a transistor man and a solid state woman, and Nikola Tesla. And luckily, by accident, Randy, that was one of Randy's favorite inventors or great minds. Randy had done a report, so they sat down. I think Tesla likes Randy. I think probably hopefully from now on, be visiting Randy instead of me. And then we had to, wrap that up. Then we had to fly to Eminem back, because you can't just stuff Eminem back into a console. Unfortunately, I tried with the electricity, and that only made him testy. So he had to ride with the solid state or carry the transistor. But those are like magical lightning bugs. I don't think they go as the lightning crow, but they travel on the electrical currents of the universe. So it wasn't that much of a trip. Then we had to go back to the mall because I had left my keys and still forgot to pick up the Naruto game. So that wasn't great. Then I said, hey, can you give me a ride, back home? Because I don't have, I don't have a car. And they said, and then I said, anyway, what were you coming to visit me about? And he said, we're doing so much better with the language of console games and mall security guards. The three of you seem to really need. I said, was that about machine learning or machine transcriptions? Was that what you were really coming to talk to me about? And that there's a magic within those transcripts. There must have been some magic in that machine transcription I found. For when I pulled it up and began to read, the words were quite profound. And they just kind of stared at me on that one. But I said, okay, well, I said, and then I said, why don't I tuck you three in and then tell you a bedtime story, you three lightning bugs. And then I said, I said, all of you in one bed, preferably in a hotel somewhere in another city. But for tonight, I'll tell you the tale of the little machine transcription engine that could. And once upon a time, there was a magical world where the night sky was not just full of stars, but also full of the lights of the lightning bugs. Every night was warm and thick. Not with lightning bugs, but it was, that same season. And we would sip lemonade, and we would be thankful for the LEDs that shone at a low energy rate, the solid state that didn't generate heat and made everything so much more efficient. And we were thankful for the flowing of electrons and, pulsating of coils, which, made every, all those things that the great tests, but there was also a little, and it was just a program. It wasn't solid state. And it wasn't a transistor that is also a solid state thing. So it just, again, I don't know which came first. And it wasn't even a humanoid. It was just a program whose job it was through machine. I don't know if it did any machine learning to get there. It wasn't even actually a machine. It was within a software machine. And it listened. And it transcribed, and it kept going whenever it was called on to do so. And it might not have been the most accurate, and it might not have been listening to the podcast where the person speaks clearly or enunciates or makes any sense. But that machine transcription service was willing, when the proper, parameters were met. The machine, the transcription engine would chug, out the words just by the magic of zeros and ones, that great minds knew solid state switches and tests, DC or AC, they'd say me see that this here thing is transcribing, and it could. Because it was a little transcript, and then they were all asleep, all six of them. I guess, I don't know, like, is a solid state, is it asleep when it's in the off position or the on position? And how do you know if you can't see through it, But Nikola Tesla's eyes were closed, and he was snoring, holy moly. And the giant lightning bugs were asleep. Also, Randy had invited Randy and Eminem over. They had wanted, anyway, and they all drifted off into dreamland. Good night. All right, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a tuck you in message, about Sleep With Me Plus. If you're still listening and you believe in the podcast, you see, how can I help this podcast that helps me so much? You can do that by signing up for Sleep With Me Plus. It'll help you even more because it's made with you in mind. It's like the ultimate way to listen to Sleep With Me, but it's also what enables us to produce the show. So, but I haven't been really good at getting that message out. I've tried different ways, and they just haven't been working. And so I'm changing up. I'm just reading right from the listeners who support the show, their testimonials. And this is from Katie from Oakland. Been listening to Sleep With Me for 6 or 7 years. I first started listening because I would have insomnia in the middle of the night. And the stories gave me something to keep me from thinking about the things that would wake me up even more. But now I just play it all night long, and it helps me stay asleep or at least get back to sleep quickly. I no longer have insomnia, which is everything. I've been a patron since before 2020. I recommend this podcast to everyone, especially those who can't afford more expensive interventions. I want to see this podcast continue and help others. I really love the TV retellings. TNG, Great British Baking Show are my favorites. I really like the shows I already know the plot, so I don't have to listen too carefully. And, I spend $10 a month for consistent sleep without medication or any other side effects by supporting Sleep With Me. That's cheaper than a nice glass of wine at a restaurant. So sleep is everything. Thank you for everything, Katie says. Thank you, Katie, for supporting the show. If you relate to Sleep With Me, I didn't even think about that. Like, if Sleep With Me is worth more than 2 beers to you a month or a nice glass of wine, one glass, think about it, because we could, the support goes a lot further than one glass of wine. You support the show at $14 a month. That enables us to make 8 brand new episodes. So think about it. Sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks, everybody.